Hey everybody, it's Ron, and I'm back with another Swamp Thing review. This is episode 4. Okay, so what did I think? This episode to me felt like a one-and-done standalone episode as far as the premise goes. It seems like an idea that would happen in a 22-episode season on a network television show, if that makes any sense. But not for a streaming service show that got canceled. Yeah, so at the start of this, Sunderland is getting rid of that body of the guy that he offed last episode. And I thought the flashbacks with his father were kind of weird. They just came out of nowhere. Like, there was no build-up to that. It just kind of happened. And I thought it was a little cheesy, a little on the nose. But it was okay. So then it cuts to two guys working in a swamp, and I think they're about to cut down a tree with a chainsaw. And a corpse falls on one of them and scratches the guy and kind of infects him. So that pretty much sets up this whole premise for the episode. So anyway, that guy ends up going to work the next day, and we find out that he cleans dishes at that bar that Abby's friend Liz works at. So yeah, like I said, that cut infected him with something, and he starts hallucinating as he's doing the dishes, and he thinks he sees a snake. So it wraps around his arms, and Liz and her father, who I think owns the place, come in, and the guy's freaking out. This is kind of like that scarecrow fear gas and the side effects. It makes you see all these things that you're afraid of or like your worst fear. Now, I know I just said this episode felt more like a network television show in some spots, but not this part because it's probably the most brutal scene yet. The guy grabs a knife and he starts to get that imaginary snake off him by stabbing him and cutting his whole arm. And he ends up losing his hand in the drain as well. It was pretty nasty. I'm 4 episodes in and I'm still, I don't know, I'm always surprised by these scenes. They always sneak up on me. It's pretty cool. And that's definitely still the show's biggest strong suit. It's that it's not afraid to be gory and disgusting because they can get away with it. They could swear, they could do whatever they want. And I think it works for Swamp Thing. Yeah, so the whole idea of this episode is that once someone gets scratched, it infects them and they start hallucinating and seeing their worst fears. I felt like this got a little bit too repetitive as the episode went on, going from Liz's dad to Lucilia and then finally to Abby, which started to get a little silly to me. Even before that, Abby traveling to the swamp and then only to realize that Lucilia got scratched in the neck was a big, like, well, duh moment. And that's surprising because that's usually, it's usually a pretty smart show. I'm glad we did get to see a lot more of these great swamp sets that they have, and we got some more exposition from Swamp Thing. I really like the voice they gave him, and it's not too dissimilar from what I had in my mind when I used to read the comics. We also find out that Cassidy made some sort of deal to stay in that area for like 8 years, and now Xanadu is telling him that that's changing because basically some dark shit is about to go down, and he's gonna have to, be a hero in this moment. I'm honestly surprised that his role turned into more than a cameo, but we'll see how it goes. The guy who plays Sunderland, I forget the actor's name, I gotta look it up, but he was in Remember the Titans. He looks like a Walking Dead drawing come to life. I don't know if that makes sense. Anyway, he ends up taking in that Susie girl, basically for sympathy points to get more funding, which is, just anything for him to get by. It's crazy. Oh, I forgot to mention that also Jason Woodrue ends up taking that sample of Swamp Thing that Abby got from him. He's probably going to take it to his lab, and I'm hoping that something kind of goes wrong or whatever. He tries to experiment with it, and that is what turns him into the Floronic Man. It'd be cool if that happened like next episode, because unfortunately there isn't much time left since this show's canceled. Anyway, that's what I thought. I think I liked this episode the least so far, but I still really liked the show, and it wasn't like it was horrible or anything. I just think the 2 episodes before it were a little tighter and stronger. Hopefully this is building up to something cool, though. So let me know what you thought of this episode in the comments, and make sure to like and subscribe to get notified when I review episode 5 next week. Thanks for watching.